Hello everyone. Welcome back to another mini-series Monday where I take a group of comic books with 3 to 12 issues and rank them against one another. Today's issue is Batman Battle for the Cowl with Tony S. Daniel, Sandu Florea, Ian Hannon, Jared K. Fletcher on the creative team, but also Jonathan D. Smith on one issue. Now, this 3-issue mini-series is a very basic premise. Batman, dead. All the villains out there trying to take over, especially Two-Face and Penguin. Those are the two that have the most influence within Gotham. Nightwing is basically struggling with the idea of taking over the Batman moniker, right? And as he is trying to figure out his situation with that, some mysterious person who we do eventually learn, spoiler alert, for anyone who's gonna read this, spoiler alert, we learn that it is Jason Todd, which honestly, I think I actually knew that. When I started reading through this one, some things started coming to mind of, I feel like I've heard people talk about this book. I haven't read it personally until now, but I've definitely heard people talk about it. And I do think it was overall good, with some minor critiques here and there. But when it comes to art, it is a classic Batman style look. It does well on its art. It has some basic paneling, but then it has some that have a little creative flow with it, and I think it did really good. And I don't know what about this panel specifically, but I love how there's just a mini panel for where Black Mask is holding his mask. And while I do like the story of Batman Battle for the Cowl, I do think it could have done better if it was extended. I don't think it was a good idea to only limit it to 3 issues. And I have noticed that there are some other side stories that, unfortunately, some events do this where there is a main story and then, you can check out these other comic books in order to get the full picture, which I'm not fully a fan of. It's like the idea with the Rocket Raccoon one from the last miniseries Monday, where they're just adding extras into that comic. I like the addition of Two-Face and Penguin being these main villains, but grain of salt for the idea that they are the main villains, right? Because Jason Todd being Batman out there really gets the main focus. And these two kind of get shoved to the side, which is why I feel like it should have been fleshed out more. You know, it feels like they tried to mash 2 storylines in on each other, and it just didn't get to play out full scenarios that it should have. I do like seeing that Black Mask, because that's something I'll let you guys learn throughout this comic book if you're going to read it. But Black Mask basically tries to take out Two-Face and Penguin out of Gotham. And while that is interesting, we don't get a lot from that. And seeing these, we barely get some. I don't know why Harley is here. I don't know why Riddler is here. I don't know why, I guess Scarecrow for this last one. But they jammed packed too many characters into this 3-issue story, which is very sad to say to me, because like I said at the very beginning of making this grouping, I added this for the addition of Kate Kane because I noticed that she was in the story. Well, little did I know, this is her only panel. So, unfortunate for me. But going back to this, I do think the best parts of this story is seeing the struggle for Nightwing, but then also the interactions in between for 4 characters. Nightwing, Tim Drake, Jason Todd, and Alfred. Because Alfred has a great spot in trying to still be that parental figure for Nightwing. as, you know, he's been in his life since he was a child. I did think it was a good concept of making Jason Todd feel like he needs to be the Batman that he pictured over the actual Batman that we know and love. Like, that was a good dynamic on the concept of what he thinks versus what Dick Grayson thinks for the Batman mantle. And if I didn't remember earlier on, this panel would have been the dead giveaway that it's Jason Todd for me. However, speaking of Robins, I did not care for Damian Wayne in this story. He mostly gets taken out by Jason and then be's a bitch to Squire, and I don't even know who Squire is. I don't think I've ever heard of her before this comic. And I will say this part honestly feels like a plot hole, right? Because, more spoiler warnings, by the way, spoiler warnings. Catwoman follows Tim Drake, who is dressed up as Batman, goes into Jason Todd's Batcave because he made a Batcave for himself. And then Jason's Batman takes out Catwoman. But then we don't see her at all after getting hit by Jason. And the Batcave that Jason has blows up. And we don't see her at the end of the whole rest of the story. So I'm like, what happened to Catwoman, people? What happened? So overall, I'm putting Art at number 2. Art was good, but it was not on the levels of Loki. Loki is definitely the one that has the bar when it comes to how good the art style can be. This Batman style was good, but it's not too stylized, it's not too generic. It just works for what Batman is, right? And it's going to number 2 for characters and story as well. While I had a lot of complaints when it comes to Damian, a little bit of plot holes and mashing too many things into one another, I did care about the characters, I did care about the story, and I did like most of the end results compared to Moon Knight, and especially compared to Angela. And Moon Knight was more of that anthology. While I did like seeing Moon Knight throughout it, he just could not compete with how many good characters were in this story. So overall, Batman Battle for the Cowl was good, even though if it needed an extension for sure for that story because it was way too jam-packed. But I am excited for this next one. We got 2014's Bitch Planet, which all I really know is it's girl gangs in a prison. So I'm very hyped for that one. I will see you next week, y'all. Go read some comics out there.